Hi, I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach, and I wanted to talk to you about something that I've noticed when betrayal occurs. As you get healthier and healthier, you will be triggered less. But that brain of yours just keeps working overtime. What I want you to do is take control of that brain again. Now, that's no easy feat, but I really want you to begin to understand why that brain is working so hard and how you can slow it down. So I'm going to share one of the diagrams I have in my new book, Helping Couples Heal from Infidelity and Find Love Again. Sometimes you can overlook some of these diagrams and they're all super instructional. So what I'd like to do is be able to explain them to you so that you can practice some mindful skill sets and get better and better and better. This is called the auto-exacerbating cycle of partner betrayal. And I want to walk you through it. The betrayal has occurred up at the top. And of course, it's going to cause great fear and reactivity. Other than losing a child, this is the worst betrayal ever. And yet, I do want you to begin to manage it. So, when your body would normally go into increased hypervigilance, which then makes the central nervous system get out of whack. Your heart is pounding like crazy. You feel sick to your stomach because your digestive system shuts down a bit. I want you to be able to interrupt that cycle. So instead of increased reactivity, you actually can slow things down. Now, when that activity or reactivity increases, you are no longer able to identify what is real and what isn't. The betrayer comes home 15 minutes late, and you're just sure there's acting out again. A text goes off and is from an unknown source on your husband or wife's phone, and you're positive that that is an affair partner. The truth is, I want you to remind yourself that you're stronger than that you can weather anything that happens. I don't want that fear to take over, because that fear will start the whole cycle going again. Now, at first, it'll feel like the fear is uncontrollable, but in actuality, it is not. And the good news is, if you practice some mindfulness skills, you will be able to figure out what is real and what isn't. Prior to the betrayal, you thought you knew everything. And then you found out your whole life was a lie. And then you thought you couldn't trust your intuition. But once there's been a discovery, you can begin not only to trust your intuition, but you can begin to trust yourself again. And that's what's so important. So to interrupt that auto-exacerbating cycle of partner betrayal, I would instead like for you to practice a mindfulness tool called staying in the present. Hopefully, what you'll be able to do is remember to practice this skill. So let's just say you're living in the moment, you're feeling pretty good, and you're using skillful mind states to manage reactivity. You're using gratitude, you're using empathy, you're using compassion, a lot of self-compassion. You're telling yourself, I am stronger than I was before. And if my partner, if the betrayer were to act out again, I will get through this. And so you're just chugging along and doing fine. And then something does activate you. And then for a moment, a minute, an hour, a day, your tendency is to go back to the past and think about all the things that created chaos in your life, all the sorts of anxious thoughts that keep you out of the present. Well, my job is to keep you in the present and to really evaluate your situation. And by evaluate, that means to remember some of the things you've been learning in IRCM, the early recovery couples empathy model, to be able to identify feelings and create reality affirmations that help to keep things in perspective. And the most important mindfulness thought you should have is this one right here. You remind yourself that you are not your mind and that you have choices and that distress is part of this cycle, but you don't have to be taken down by it. Instead, you can choose to be in a curious mind state about the many choices you have. And regardless of your fears, you can live in the moment and choose serenity. Maybe that means you go and read your Bible. Maybe that means you go and read your journal. Perhaps you call a friend who's really good at building you up. Maybe you write down 25 things you like about yourself that are positive attributes. I'm strong, I'm loyal, I'm dedicated, I'm loving, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm creative, I'm sensual. You get to choose what's on that list, because what I need to do is to teach you skills that keep you in the moment, right? You learned in the book. The key to happiness are staying in the moment, looking at what's working as opposed to what isn't, and asking yourself, how are you stronger? And what have you learned about yourself throughout this horrible ordeal? My job is to keep you in the present so that you're not living in the past or fretting about the future. And once you learn how to do that and you cultivate that, your entire life will be different. That's a promise. As a therapist, I'm not supposed to make any promises, but mindfulness is that pathway to equanimity, to serenity, and to acceptance. That's why I want you to stay in the moment. And what I know to be true is that you can learn these skills and get stronger regardless of what the betrayer does. But in IRCM, I'm hoping that he's supporting you. He's coming along for the ride. He's helping you, and you're co-creating together.